Hello, class, receiving students and teachers.
Hello, Ms. Godua.
Thank you. Take your seats. Receiving students and teachers, we are going to go through this lesson today, and this lesson is based on revision. We will be on the same strand, science in the home, learning about substances, which is the sub-strand, and the outcome 8.3.1, which reads, identify and collect basic and acidic substances found in nature and use this data to elaborate on how this can be used to benefit the community. Now, are we all ready to answer questions for today's lesson, receiving students? All right, class, and the receiving students, stand to the person sitting next to you and tell him or her that you are ready to answer questions for today's lesson. All right, I'm sure every one of you are ready. Let's go through the questions. Receiving teachers, we are going to use the strategy called workstation. You are going to number your students into 6 because there will be 6 questions for each station. So everybody in the class should have a number each, 1 up to 6. Now here is the first question for you to copy down. Receiving teacher. For the model class, I have already numbered you. You are now going to move into your 6 stations or work groups. You may now move. For the receiving schools, students, you will copy the questions down. Once you are seated in your 6 groups, then you may discuss and go through those questions and write down the answer. For the model class, I have prepared your questions on cards where you will use those cards to work on them. Right. The first question is for the first group. First question, which one of the following could be used to neutralize hydrochloric acid? Explain your answer, and we have the answers or multiple choice where you have to pick the correct answer. Remember, you are going to go back and report to your group members, or you will give them the answer of those questions that you are working on. Is that clear? Right. So 2 minutes for the receiving school students and the teacher to quickly copy each of those questions For the model class, you may now go into answering those questions. Right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 2 for workstation 2. You have missing words. There are blank spaces. You are to write the correct word in each of those blank spaces. Question number 3 for workstation 3. You have a problem to solve. For those groups that have finished copying or answering their questions, for interest's sake, you may also follow the other groups to try to answer those questions. Question number 4 for workstation 4. You have another problem again. Please read carefully, discuss, and write down your answers. right, let's move on to the second last question for workstation number 5. You have a question and you have multiple choice answers. You are to pick the correct. The last question for workstation number 6. 2 minutes to work on this question. Class, I hope you all have discussed and answered all the 6 questions down in your workstation groups. This time, you will now move back to your original groups, and you will be given some minutes to report back to the rest of your group members of those questions that you have answered. So for the model class, I'd like you now to move back to your original groups. You may move quietly, please. All right. I am going to give you 2 minutes to go through all the questions in your group. So those group members responsible for each of those questions, please report back to your own group members. 2 minutes given to you. You may begin now. Starting with question number 1. If you have no 1 in your group, then you can move on to 2 for the model class. Okay. Who is working on 1 here? Who was working on question 1? When you finish reporting on 1, you go to question number 2. If you are fast enough, then you can move on to 3 and the rest of the questions. All right, those of you working on question 4, you should be reporting now. All right, working on question number 4, please report. Question 5, if you were working on 5, please report. Bring that newspaper here. Who told you to get this newspaper? So you know everything, huh? Sabe killing. All right, last one. If you were working on question number 6, please report to the other group members. All right, let's see if your group has completed the 6 questions or probably 5 questions already. Right, receiving students, I hope you have answered some of those questions so as the model class. We will now go through the answers of each of those questions. Let's have a look at question number 1. Right, question 1, those students who have been working on question 1, please give us your answer. It's a multiple choice question. Quickly. Thank you.
Water.
Right? Your answer is water. Give your reason for choosing that answer.
Because water itself is neutralized and other substances contain acid and bases.
All right. That is a answer. Hands up if you disagree with the answer or you think her answer is wrong. Right? 2 students. Eddie, what did you, if you were working on question number 1, what would be your answer?
Sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid gives salt.
All right. Thank you. That is your explanation. Let's have a look at my answer. The correct answer is sodium hydroxide. Explain why. To neutralize an acid, you need a base. Right. And you have copied this equation down, which is hydrochloric acid. It's an acid plus sodium chloride, sodium hydroxide. It's an alkali. You will get sodium chloride, which is salt, and water. You have now neutralized hydrochloric acid. Right, number 2. Those students who have been working on number 2, Rachel, quickly.
Soluble bases is called an alkali. Litmus turns blue in basic solution and red in acidic solution. Solution may be acidic, basic, or neutral.
Right, let's see if she is correct. Please do your corrections. Thank you, Rachel. A soluble base is called an alkali. Litmus turns blue in basic solutions and red in acidic solutions. Solutions may be acidic, basic, or neutral. If you have all those words written, give yourself a tick. Right, let's move on to question number 3. Anyone's got an answer for us? Jennifer and Josephine are from St. Paul's Primary School, Gerehu in NCD. I've used these 2 students' names for this problem. Who was working on this question? Thank you, Michelle.
Jennifer was right because acids turn blue litmus paper red, or in other words, acidic substances turn blue litmus paper red, and basic substances turn blue litmus paper blue, or blue litmus paper stays blue or changes to a dark blue in basic substances.
Right. Thank you, Michelle, for that answer. Let's have a look at my answer. Question number 3. She says Jennifer, but the answer is Josephine was right. Why? Because blue litmus paper is normally blue in water, meaning any solution that is neutral, the color remains as it is. Therefore, it will stay blue in basic and neutral solutions. Remember, to be sure that a substance is an acid or a base, observe the change in the color of an indicator. Right? Yeah, of course, Jennifer is correct, but remember that there are solutions that are also neutral. There are some solutions that are basic, some that are acidic, and some that are neutral like water. So one of those solutions that they have used is water. Question number 4 is about Alan in this class. He has an unknown liquid. He has added red litmus paper. It turned blue. When he added few drops of hibiscus solution, it turned green. Is the solution acidic, basic, or neutral? Explain your answer. Who has worked on this question? Thank you. Let's hear from her.
The solution is basic because red litmus paper turns blue in basic substances and hibiscus solution turns green in basic substances.
Very good. That is the correct answer. Let's have a look at mine. The solution is basic because red litmus paper turn blue in alkaline or basic solutions, and in hibiscus solution turned green. Question number 5. Who has worked on question number 5? Thank you. Let's hear from you.
C called B ammonia, D oven cleaner, and E toothpaste. Our reason is because they contain bases that help us to clean our household items and our bodies.
All right, let's have a look at the correct answers. You should have B, correct, D, and E. Right, for those students who have worked on question number 5. Let's go on to question number 6. Anyone's got an answer for us? Thank you. We'll hear from you. What is a neutralization reaction?
The reaction between acid and base to cancel each other out.
Very good. Right? So it is a reaction in which an acid or an alkali, which is also known as a base, is cancelled out. Meaning they are now no longer acid or base. Okay? They're in their neutral form, and the neutral form can be salt and water. All right, receiving students and model class, I hope you have your answers written down and you have also made your corrections. Your teacher, receiving students, can elaborate further on these questions in your own time. Class, we have come to the end of today's revision lesson. Our next lesson will still be on a revision lesson. We will go through some questions in groups again. Our key phrase for today's lesson, acids and bases. With that, thank you class for your participation.